It's a bit boring to review flagship and mid-range phones. Of course, all of them should get great screens, great batteries, amazing software, and performance. And you can pick one of them and expect to have a good day. Now, when it comes to budget phones, it gets a bit tricky and fun since you have to find the compromise and find what's acceptable to have and not have for that price point. But today we're talking about the Nothing Phone 2A. It's practically the first phone to amaze me at this price point. And yes, it does tick the display, camera, and software experience boxes, but if I had to name a forte, like for the iPhone SE it's the cameras, for the budget Samsung A54 it's the screen, but for this $350 Nothing Phone, it's all about looks. This is the Nothing Phone 2A. And yeah, it's not about mind-blowing specs or even the best all-around camera. It's here to be the prettiest kid on the block for under $400. Nothing's whole thing is this transparent aesthetic. It's been in their phones, their earbuds. This one carries that torch. You can get them in either black or white, but personally, I like the white version, but just a bit more. It just looks cleaner and slicker to me. Dark mode still looks cool though. Honestly, mission accomplished if the goal was not to be mistaken for any other phone. The cameras are unique, kinda like robot eyes. The NFC coil wraps around them, and then this crazy glyph thing. It's a design statement, plain and simple. You love it or you hate it, others call it a face with an intestine. Either way, it's got texture, exposed screws, even that little red square that's purely for the vibe. I respect that. As I said in the intro, a budget phone gotta have some trade-offs, a caveat that sets it apart from higher-end phones. And yes, so the pretty design means some compromises. This back, it's clear plastic, not glass. Scuffs easier but won't shatter like glass. It's got textured plastic frame mimicking aluminum. It's basically boilerplate stuff, but honestly, this thing is shockingly light for its size, which you can consider a benefit or a trade-off. And yes, plastic can be a bit harder to seal, so this only has an IP54 water and dust protection, which means you can't use this even in light rain since it's only resistant to light sprays of water and dust. And so far, that was the immediate trade-off that I saw, which personally is pretty acceptable. But let's get to the other stuff and keep digging. Now, this phone is big, like jumbo, and that's the main thing that surprised me. And yes, for some folks, that's a drawback. But if you like big screens, that also naturally comes with bigger battery life, maybe even better speaker quality. And yes, this phone isn't just big. It comes in at 6.7 inches, which is definitely big, but it's also AMOLED for those deep blacks, and it gets decently bright at 1300 nits. And I say decently, even though that's very, very bright since other flagships can even manage up to 3000 nits, which is actually borderline dangerous if you accidentally turn it up at night. And hey, they have thin bezels all around, no design shortcuts on the front. Okay, let's be real. I was nervous about the chip in this, a MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Pro. Wasn't sure how it'd handle. Are we going to experience a laggy mess? Pleasant surprise here, this thing is respectable. But yeah, expect the first day to be a bit laggy since you're installing and configuring a lot of stuff. But after that, it's all smooth. How did it manage that? I'd say it's all about the software optimization. I swear. Nothing OS is clean, fast, and smooth, and it's probably the most stock Android experience other than Google Pixel phones. There's no pre-installed bloatware and it isn't overly skinned. But yeah, day-to-day stuff, it's buttery smooth, especially with that 120Hz refresh rate. But for heavy gaming, yeah, you'll feel the difference a bit there. But for $350, I'm not mad. Nothing is building a whole thing. This is where it gets interesting. The dot aesthetic is everywhere. Apps, widgets, heck, you can blow up one icon on your home screen. Love it or hate it, it's consistent. And yes, the glyphs are still a thing. Less bling than their flagship, but same idea. Timers, notification light replacements, and syncing with music. It's a gimmick for me, and I don't recommend anyone buying their phones just for that, but hey, I understand the appeal. Cameras on this thing, usable is the key word. You're not buying this for Nat Geo quality shots, but it's got what you need. Autofocus is decent. It'll grab that birthday pic or a sudden moment. No complaints, but nothing earth-shattering either. And as I mentioned earlier, bigger phones mean bigger batteries. And yes, this is no exception. It has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and it delivers a solid whole day experience. Maybe a whole day and a half if you're really conservative about your screen time. This is a budget phone, so there's no wireless charging, but at least it has a 45-watt fast charging feature. What I like most is how much nothing carried over from their more expensive phones. Compared to their older stuff, this one shines. Yes, it beats even the Nothing Phone 1. So, is the Nothing Phone 2A right for you? Well, if you dig the unique look and want a long-lasting battery on a big, bright screen and software that won't drive you nuts, this could be a fantastic deal. And with 3 years of Android updates promised, it might be a great budget phone for the long haul. But if you ask me, not much could beat this phone's overall package for under $400. Now, if you're interested in this phone, unfortunately, there isn't a link I can provide right now since the internet is full of scalpers selling this $350 phone for $500. But check the links as I will provide one as soon as I can. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is Marty, and I'll see you tomorrow.